Further to yesterday's press review with Louise Macaulay, Turkey's lira declined for a second day and bonds fell as the Ankara bombings threatened to ratchet up political tension before elections next month. With me down the line to share his economic insights on the crisis-stricken country is Wolf-Fabian Hungerland. Fabian, the aforementioned points aside, some say the Fed delaying their first hike even further, sentiment towards EM and Turkey in particular had been improving. Therefore, it's hard to bet against the lira. But what do you think now, and what is your TRY outlook?
Well, I think the lira faces an enduring phase of weakness. That is, our outlook is continuously pessimistic, both from a fundamental and also from a sentiment perspective. Fundamentally, we still see too high inflation, a high current account, or a too high current account deficit, which has not shrunk as low oil prices would suggest, and still some 15% of GDP in short-term foreign debt. But this is an old story by now. What makes us more pessimistic is the drastically worsened political situation of Turkey. Politics, especially by the government, aims at conflict and not reconciliation. And this makes policy making more difficult, although this is badly necessary. In some parts of the country, civil war-like situations broke out. Again, not even mentioning that the country needs to develop its pension system, increase domestic energy production, and improve labor market participation. And add to this that the Fed will at some point eventually hike, and the picture you get is gray and gray. Old risks are topped up by new ones, and the lira will certainly mirror that.
On Thursday, we'll have the latest current accounts data. Now, although agencies have not yet changed Turkey's credit rating, their persistent warnings make it difficult to fund external funds and financing. As such, the debts of banks and private companies continue to mount. Just how much has the stronger dollar hurt Turkey, and can the country avoid a downgrade?
At the end of the day, the strong dollar is making things more difficult for Turkey. It changes the real return on investments to the disadvantage of Turkey. That is, Turkey moves towards a worse deal in terms of risk versus return. What we are likely to see in upcoming rating decisions is an adoption to the substantially higher political uncertainty. Now, I believe Turkey can avoid a downgrade, but this is going to be very difficult because it would demand the government to roll back its course of policy over the last months. The interim government, and more precisely Erdogan and his AKP, have to credibly commit to peace and structural reform. But I think the only structural reform, in inverted commas, is that which the AKP has in mind, is that Turkey needs an even more concentrated power. And this is a bad idea in our view.
The CBRT's next meeting is October 21st. However, with that snap election on November 1st, it's unlikely that any major action will be taken. What does seem to be certain is that the election winner faces tough times ahead. Do you think things are likely to get worse from here, or have a lot of the risks been priced into the country's assets already?
Well, Turkey has entered uncharted waters, politically and economically. The change in the tide of global liquidity changes fundamentally how capital flows from the rich to the developing world and the emerging world flow, and vice versa. Politically, it is still absolutely uncertain what will come when the repeat elections require, again, a coalition government. All this, of course, has impact on Turkish asset prices. To put it differently, the biggest problem is that the high political uncertainty makes asset pricing a lot harder these days. And at the moment, in my view, many investors seem to be very careful, but also still rather confident that things will end up well. But uncharted waters mean that things can get easily worse. And given what I just outlined before, I think this is, unfortunately, a plausible scenario. Therefore, I do not believe that all major potential turbulences after the elections are already priced in.
Fabian, great to speak with you. Thank you for your time. Well, the TV team will continue to monitor the situation and its impact on the currency markets. For me and for now, though, it's goodbye.